What's going on YouTube? ClipK74 with a Black Friday video. So pretty much after Thanksgiving, the Clippers had to face against the Detroit Pistons, who has a pretty exciting young core to say the least. But they just did not have their nights. Like both sides, they kind of had their struggles. The Pistons cannot really pretty much make anything. But it's just one. It's one game. And also the Clippers, like a lot of the Clippers players were kind of like on a slump too. Luke Kennard had a pretty, somewhat a poor shooting day, but again, it's one game, and the big improvement of Luke Kennard, what I noticed throughout the past month, is his defense is not as much like he wouldn't get torches often compared to last season. And one thing I like what Luke is doing is he's shooting more often, so that's pretty good of Luke. Paul George, after all the amazing games he had this is like the perfect game to have an off game because it's a Detroit's Pistons, and it was perfect to pretty much get the misses out of Paul George's system. So that's a really great thing. But hopefully Paul George could bring back the energy. But again, we won after all, so not really much I could complain. Marcus Morris second game back. He actually wasn't pretty bad. I forgot how much points exactly he dropped, but it was a solid number. He was on a minutes restriction, and honestly, from what I noticed, I think it's a lot better to make sure Marcus Morris is healthy than rather have him play injured. Because when he plays kind of hurt, he would do pretty bad, like pretty awful actually. But I like it that Morris is healthy. Like I like the way how the Clippers handle Morris situation. Like it's one thing that's important is try to condition your player, and they pretty much they give him like a whole month rest, and which is that's a really smart decision for the Clippers to do, because if you make Marcus Morris try to come like as soon as possible, and he's still not 100%, he's gonna be off. But if you make sure he's feeling good, he feels no pain whatsoever, he actually is a reliable player. Like he could he could probably get you a solid 13 points a game, 15 points a game, or whatsoever. I forgot exactly how much points he had today, but it was a solid number. But I believe he got like 5 or 6 rebounds, so that's a good part. Isaiah Hartenstein, though, that guy is pretty. He's shown this game he's pretty special, because Hartenstein pretty much killed the Detroit Pistons' momentum. He brought a lot of energy. He does a lot of the good little things that you want him to do. His playmaking is pretty good. Um, I mean, his rim protection is pretty solid. You can never go wrong with a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein, because he's a big team plus. Pretty much not really much necessarily weakness in Isaiah Hartenstein's game, other than obviously shooting. But I mean, other than that, I don't really. And also, fouling. He could try to work on, fouling a lot less. But other than that, he's like the perfect player to have on your team. So that's a big plus. And I'm also kind of like start liking Ty Lue's rotation. So he introduced his new rotation, right? Um, it's a lineup of two bigs on the floor, Serge Ibaka and Isaiah Hartenstein, which is I found that really interesting, because Isaiah Hartenstein could kind of be like a point center. He threw that one beautiful pass to Ibaka. Ibaka got the beautiful dunk or something like that. And also that could also be really good with rim protection as well too, because they're both mobile, and they both could at the same time mobile but also protect the paint. So that's a big plus. Also, I'm gonna talk about Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I swear, this dude is like one of the most. Like, I just wish he gets consistent. Like, he gets consistent in a good way, of course. Like, I wish he always would drop at least 13 points a game. not just just be really good one day, being bad one day. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at least with Patrick Beverly from last season, like we all know what Pat Bev is gonna bring every night. He always brings great defense, rebounding. He definitely don't score as much as Bled, but it ain't just about scoring. It's about what you do for the team in general. And Pat Bev, we all know what he can do, and you can never go wrong with a guy like Pat Bev. But Bledsoe, he played really good tonight. Today he played really good today. But the thing is, like when he's off, it's pretty bad because the I don't know how to say it, but like the turnovers and also kind of like the offensive flow is gonna be pretty awkward. Pretty much. But again, that's one key thing that Bledsoe needs to work on, and he's doing pretty good. Like he actually hit some good amount of shots tonight. I mean today. Like I believe he went 2 for 2 from the three point line, which is that's pretty good. So or like a number just like that. But yeah, that's just pretty much how Bledsoe did. And Reggie Jackson, he kind of had a little bit of a rough shooting edge sometimes of the games, but he later on finished it pretty strong in his second half. Zubac, I mean Zubac wasn't the worst. He was a big that you get. He was a solid big. Um, just pretty much did Zubac things. He didn't really do bad at all, nor he wasn't like oh he's amazing and stuff. But an improvement I could talk about Zubac though is like just like the past week he's shown flashes that he could be. His playmaking just got better. So if Zubac could if he could flash that a bit more, we show that he's a capable playmaker. That'll be a big plus, and I believe if Zubac improves on his playmaking, I believe all Clippers fans would get behind Zubac's back because I know like the Clippers fan base are so split on Zubac. There's one side who is more understanding towards Zubac, and there's one side who would complain about how clunky he is and everything. But again, I'm glad Zubac is improving, so that's a really good, that's a huge plus. And pretty much, I believe that's the only thing I could really talk about on the Clippers right now. But I'm gonna try my best to talk about the Detroit Pistons a little bit. But obviously, of course, my knowledge of the other team would not be so good because I don't watch all of their games. But from what I've seen today, Cade Cunningham had a pretty poor performance. But it's one game, and he did, just came back off of an ankle injury, so that definitely plays a big factor. But K does have solid moments though that he scored 20 points. Like I heard, like past 5 games. So I believe he's gonna be good for the Detroit Pistons franchise. Um, Jeremy Grant also had a pretty poor shooting night, but I believe he scored 20 points. But again, some of them were in garbage time. Who That's pretty much what I could say about the Detroit Pistons. But good game, Detroit. Um, Pretty much that's one thing. Like again, like it's pretty much kind of like a repetition game for the Clippers. Like it pretty much got rid. It pretty much like they kind of had some of the rust, but but after all, I mean at least it was on a team like the Detroit Pistons, and we ended up winning rather than showing the rust against teams like the Warriors, the Lakers, um, who else? The Suns. You know what? But again, I believe that's pretty much what I got to say in this video. I mean, it's not really much, honestly, but I'm gonna just I pretty much just raked into some details, but in my opinion, it's really nothing really much. But it was a pretty good win, so that's a great part. And also, be sure to to tap on the link down when we drop it on the descriptions if you want to see the Los Angeles Clippers play over Christmas. it's just a petition I made. It's like a fun petition in a way, but you could gain a lot of stuff because if if the NBA if the NBA actually listens to my petition, it's gonna be really fun for pretty much all NBA fans in general because again the rivalry would be pretty good. So that'll just wrap up this video again. So enjoy your Black Friday, everybody, and that should do it.